Where do they store them for the 3 weeks?
What's that?
Where do they store them for the 3 weeks?
I don't
between?
know.
Yeah.
They stored them in our classroom.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I do.
So-
Fair.
It's a very interesting.
Start. Oh, that never stops you, Doug. All right, thank you for coming today. Yeah, go back. All right, it's February 6th, 2024. This is our first general meeting of February, and we have our speaker, Gavin Moffat, here to join us today from the Hawai'i Nature Center. Normally we would welcome our guests, but since both of our guests are going to be talking about themselves in more detail, I think we're going to skip giving them time at the beginning. All right, so we're going to go through this month's birthdays, review.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's Rebecca's birthday every month now. She's always going to be included. We're going to review what we did in January, talk about our future events, discuss the Ocean Friendly Garden Corps volunteer program. We have our HRYF scholarships that we're going to be interviewing for, and talk about Genki sponsorships. And then we have our guest, which is exchange student Yukari Takechi.
Yes.
Yep. And then our main speaker is Gavin Moffat. And then we'll do the closing and four-way test. All right, so happy birthday. We have Mia, Nancy, April, and Susan. Me and April were on the trip this weekend, so it was cool to have them there. It aligned. You could have come. I asked you to come.
I just didn't want to be that guy who's like last minute, like, hey, can I eat on the stricken?
Where's Susan?
You could have been that guy who said a month in advance that you wanted to go.
Yeah, but that would have been.
Yeah. Huh?
Where's our PE, Susan?
Susan is probably out of off island usually.
Oh.
Yep. All right, so January we had one service project, which was the Sandy Beach Restoration Project. This was
fun. Good job.
Yeah, this was a hugely successful event.
Oh, look at that guy on the right.
Yeah. Sure. You did something.
Wanted to highlight everybody who went there. But we had about 30 volunteers. So this is a project that that Parlay has been working on for about a year and a half, clearing all the invasives from the area. And then we had a Christmas party and on December 15th, and all the funds raised went towards buying plants for this event. So it was a coordination between us, Parlay, and then there was a third nonprofit organization that assisted as well as getting compost from Full Circle Farms. So yeah, just another highlight of how interconnected a lot of the nonprofits that we're working with
Next
are.
time we need to get a before and after shot. That place did not look the same after we got done with it.
Yeah, I mean, I have plenty of photos from Lindsay, but I wanted to highlight all of you lovely people.
Are there people that are gonna go maintain that? It's probably is off island now, yeah.
That's a good question. We should ask. We did have a little funds left over, so there's like $200 going to go help them move to, which I think is enough.
So they're not taking care of it?
Huh?
They're not taking care of what we did?
They're moving to Maui.
Yeah, they're.
We could call David, the guy.
Well, just it's not like Kahi's moving to Maui, just FYI. But I mean, the Parlay actual air station is moving there, so I'm sure he's gonna have another director that lives over there is probably gonna take over. I'm assuming.
So Kahi from Parlay is actually going to be setting up a nature education center near Lahaina.
Oh, okay.
All right. So upcoming events for February. I'm not gonna, I didn't have photos for the Big Island trip. I'll save that for next month for February events. Don't want to make everyone too jealous. And then so today we have Gavin Moffat. On the 10th, there's a fish pond work day with Malama Loko'ia. And then we're doing a committee refresh, just kind of check in on the committees that we started a few months ago. And then we have our Hawai'i Nature Center event on the 24th. If anybody would like to, if anyone would like to register for any of those events now, we have the QR codes here.
Do you have the attendance QR?
Yeah, I just thought about that. And this is for guests as well. People who are attending, if you can sign in for attendance.
Hey Jacob, just since it's quiet,
Mhm.
you know that maybe you can, I think you could send it out right to everybody. Can you directly send it out to everybody? No,
Send what?
like that link, like to a text. I'm just thinking like,
for
isn't there a way to
attendance?
do that? Yeah, just to register, right? That's what we're clicking on, right? Because I just went to this thing and sent it to myself. That's what I register, right? It's the same thing, right? In Luma.
Yeah, Numa.
So
So
if I just text it to myself, I was just thinking for our members, we could always just send a text out if people want it, and then they can remind them about it and they could click on it, and then you could also, register from there from your phone in the future. Just a thought.
we can talk about it later. I'm not sure
Okay.
exactly what you're thinking. Yeah.
Okay, goodbye. For now.
Okay. All right. So I'll let everybody finish. Okay. Yeah, so we also have Jenny posted about Ocean Friendly Garden. If you want to be a core volunteer at Ocean Friendly Garden, core volunteers will regularly assist with growing and maintaining the garden. There's a 1 hour training on Saturday, February 10th, 9:30, at the Ocean Friendly Garden. That is the same time as the Malama event. So I do want to see if they're going to be having another training in the near future. But yeah, core volunteers will be able to, I don't know exactly what the schedule is, or like if they have to volunteer at how regularly.
Like 2 to 4 times a month.
2 to 4 times a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you are a core volunteer, then you can go to the garden and gather food anytime, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we had the Hawai'i Rotary Youth Foundation. Every year we have $5,000 to give to a high school student in Hawaii. And we had 3 seniors who applied for the scholarship, 2 from Pacific Buddhist Academy and 1 from McKinley High School. And on February 11th, we're going to have a panel of people to interview them. And we're going to choose who receives the scholarship this year.
It will be before the Super Bowl.
Oh, is that the same day as Super Bowl?
Yeah. I already got.
Shows what I know.
It's like, okay, it will be held, so we'll have time to get the Super Bowl party.
Yeah. We'll get each of them a bag of pork rinds or something. I don't know.
A koozie.
Hmm?
A koozie.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. And then for Genki sponsorships, we put together the sponsorship letter. I'm actually going to zoom in. So I'm going to be sending this out to everybody in the club so they can share with their yeah, so this is email friendly. You can just put it into an email, send it to your boss, send it to any companies that you may know. And it talks about our club highlights, things that we do, the accomplishments that we've accomplished. We're raising funds to support these major projects. Goes over our corporate sponsors. Goes over our sponsorship levels. So we want everyone to be ideally molasses, at least $6,000 would be great. We're trying to raise $100,000 for Genki Ball and Lahaina bioremediation project. So yeah, I just want to make it as easy as possible for us to share with people and try to get more sponsors this year.
Who's heading up Genki Ball this year?
Yosoi. Who wants to help? Yeah.
What's the goal?
What's the goal?
Yeah.
For
Genki Ball, how many? 10,000?
I think we're gonna stick with 5,000 for now,
6,000?
especially because Shao was like, so do we have a backup for somewhere we can store the Genki balls? I'm like, no, we already landed on your front yard, so you're stuck with it.
About space. Like,
Yeah, right?
She was signing herself up for all kinds of storage.
Yeah,
She is rescinding that offer.
she is unassertively rescinding the offer. So we'll see what we can do.
Does it have to be like indoors or?
So indoors, I mean, there are pros and cons to each. Like outdoors, it has space for it to, for the humidity to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
As long as it's covered. But it also attracts a lot of insects and stuff.
Instead of sifting dirt, we were trying to sift mud.
Yeah. But then using the ocean friendly garden, like shipping container, it just got really, like really humid in there. And there was a little bit of black mold that developed because of the moisture.
Could it be done like in a carport?
Yeah, it could be done in a carport. Yeah, if it's covered. I think depending on how much we raise, I think we could probably invest in some shelving to make it easier. All right. And hello.
Hello.
So we have Yukari here. Yukari was an exchange student from Japan. She's still from Japan. So she was with the Arnolds in Visalia, California during her senior year of high school. She completed her degree in human resources and is currently living in Tokyo. She'll be sharing her experience with the Rotary Youth Exchange Program and what she gained from the experience.
Whoa.
So there's a way that we have all youth exchange introduce themselves.
Oh, all right. Doug has secrets.
Okay.
Do you want to come up here? Not to put the spotlight there.
Well, it's okay. It's okay.
Why is it still showing Christina?
Well, こんにちは。Takechi Yukari です。Hello, I'm Yukari Takechi. I was a really long-term exchange student in 2017 to 2018 in Visalia, California, and it's been 6 years to see my first host family, Doug Arnold. And my year in California was so wonderful. I went to regular high school and studied with students over there and had some good time with other exchange students too. And they're in everywhere in the world right now. Sometimes we text each other. Yeah, that, how can I say? Well, this is from the Rotary meeting in Visalia, and I wish I could have brought my Rotary jacket because they're covered with so many pins.
Those are all pins on her jacket.
Yes,
If you ever see anyone in the airport that looks like that, you'll know they're Rotary.
like we exchange the
I wanted
pins.
to use a picture with the pins.
Yeah, we exchange the pins with other exchange students, or collect the pins everywhere I went. So yeah, and
Is that
this
scroll
one
up?
is the graduation.
That scroll up for the other pictures.
Oh,
If you want me to share all the pictures.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was. Pick and choose.
Okay.
so this one is from the graduation of high school. Yes, and now I'm fourth grade of university in Japan, and right now I'm in spring break. That's why I came to visit him for my last student vacation. Yeah.
What do you want to be when you
So
grow up?
Mhm.
I said, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Well, I'm starting to work next spring, which is April. My company sells systems that collecting their medical data. So, well,
Anybody have any questions for her about youth exchange?
I was gonna pull up the other
Let me give
photos if you want to
Let me
talk
give you an
about them.
example. Hikari, what was the dumbest thing people asked you about Japan?
oh, well, oh no.
Spencer jacket without pins when he
Mhm.
first started. And so we teach them if they have a problem in the airport, they just sit down and start crying.
So you can-
And somebody, there
Mhm.
will always be a Rotarian in the airport.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so you can go through the photos.
The
straight.
year after
Okay,
that,
okay.
the year after that was when they had a failure of the entire reservation system. We had 8,000 students in the air.
Mhm.
We had 8,000 students stranded. And what was so freaking amazing was in every city that every kid was stranded, they just called a Rotary Club and said, we have a kid stranded, would you take them in? And they went, sure. And people were driving like 100 miles, picking up a kid, taking them home, keeping them for a couple days until they could get them on a flight to their city that they needed to be in. So it's pretty amazing, the entire program.
Oh my god, fast. There's some dance show of high school, because I've been practicing
So high
classic.
schools in other countries don't have football or theater or things like that, and they had a dance, was it a dance production? And her as a visitor, since you were so heavily into dance as a child, she ended up being the lead in the entire high school.
No, not so much. Not so much. Yeah.
Hit the next one.
Okay.
That's prom.
That's a prom.
They have prom in Japan.
No, we don't have proms in Japan, and my high school in Japan was like private schools, it was like girls' school. So there were no proms like that stuff. This one is from the Rotary Club. Something special meeting. I don't know the event.
That's the president.
Yeah.
Of your Rotary Club in West Area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's her leaving.
Yeah, it's my living. I was a little pretty chubby there. Well,
Spent 6 months in America. It's
That's about right.
yeah, like just 1 month after since I arrived in California, I already got chubby. And my
Freshman 15.
yeah, and my mom was like, oh my god.
Her grandmother sent me a letter that she translated into English that said, please don't let my daughter get fat.
What was your favorite food in America?
Oh, I loved Mexican
Love what?
Mexican food.
That's good choice. That'll happen.
And yeah, Mexican food.
So when she first, like, I'll tell the story, when she first came home from school, I don't know, it was like the first month or something. You said, what is that guy that works at the school? And I said, which guy? And you said, he goes around and he empties the trash and he cleans up. And I said, you mean a janitor? She's like, yeah. And I go, why is that weird? She goes, well, we don't have those.
Mhm.
Oh,
I said, well, who cleans your school? And she goes,
by
well, the
ourselves.
kids do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We make the mess, we clean up the mess.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Yeah,
that just makes much sense.
in Japan, from the elementary school to high school, I think after there is a time to clean a school after after all schedules done. So
Was that in private and public school or just private school?
both, yeah. Everyone do that. Yes, that was my that's all. That was my year in California.
Thank you for sharing.
Mhm. I'm not sure how to get back to.
Oh,
Wow, now you get a favor too, just so you know.
Alright.
Yeah, this is whenever Jacob, up,
Mhm.
you have to bank one, so
I'm not allowed to make mistakes.
think of something good.
I'm gonna let you introduce yourself
Okay.
because you did
Since
it
he doesn't even
all
know
in
your
first person.
No,
name.
I'm good.
You want to know?
All right, well, good evening. My name is Gavin Moffat. I want to thank you all for having me here today. I'm the Fund Development Coordinator at the Hawai'i Nature Center. I've been there just a little over a year now. I started in January of 2022. Born and raised in Hawaii. I went to college in California, Menlo College in the Bay Area. Great time. Found my way back here after that. I primarily stayed in the nonprofit sector. I did about 10 years at Central Union Church, right there on Punahou and Beretania. Did a little time at After School All Stars Hawaii, which is a organization that does after school programs for middle school children, and then found my way to the Hawai'i Nature Center. Yeah, so my main objective today is just a couple things to raise awareness about the Hawai'i Nature Center. We are a small nonprofit organization back in Makiki Valley. We are, trying to grow awareness. We've been around for over 40 years, but we find not a lot of people know about us, and being tucked away in Makiki Valley, right along the trail, people will see the building, but maybe not be familiar with who we are and what we do. So just wanted to do some outreach, reached out to Jacob, and he was very kind to let me come and speak to you all. So I appreciate that. Do I just click? Oh, sorry. Awesome, thanks. So I want to open with this quote from Auntie Pualani Burgess. If you plan for 1 year, plant kalo. If you plan for 10 years, plant koa. If you plan for 100 years, teach the children aloha aina. And I think this is a perfect quote that encapsulates what we do at the Nature Center. In short, we connect children and families to nature via immersive environmental education. And we do that in a multitude of ways, but I'll give you a quick background. We officially became a nonprofit in 1981, though we started in the early 70s as part of the Outdoor Circle, having a goal to create a education center in Makiki Valley. So if you go through, you know, our history books and everything, it starts with literally having like a warehouse. It was the original classroom. We opened a Maui site in 1992 in Iao Valley. And we have connected via Oahu and Maui over 1 million kids to nature. We're currently reaching about 10,000 annually. Right now, so at the end of 2022, we actually sold our property on Maui because there were some flood concerns and structural issues. So we sold it back to the city and county of Maui. Our programs have been down on Maui currently, but we are working to get that back up and running. Were you saying, could we talk later about the person who is starting a nature center in Lahaina yeah, but yeah, you know, that's one area that unfortunately, because we closed that facility, trying to get going again is, you know, a challenge, and we're trying to find, you know, people to do outreach over there and, you know, get the word out, but as in this at the same time kind of get the whole thing going again, because we do have families waiting for us to get our programs back. So yeah, so this is our the picture is our current building, built in 2006. That is back in the valley there, right along the trail. If you ever do the Makiki Loop Trail, it passes right by that building. So the mission, why? Connecting children and families to nature. By connecting children and families to nature, Hawai'i Nature Center builds community, creates meaningful change, and shapes a more sustainable future. We're basically trying to instill, you know, nature in the next generation of environmental stewards. How? By providing environmental education with an interactive and immersive approach. Agency enhances critical thinking skills, develops personal growth and life-building skills, including confidence, autonomy, leadership. So basically getting them off the screens, getting them into nature, letting them, you know, get dirty, work with friends, and seeing what nature's all about. It promotes growth, you know. How do we do this? Or we do this through nature adventure camps. I'll get more into all of these later, but school and homeschool programs, community and weekend programs, volunteer and docent programs, as well as, you know, on the more corporate level, corporate retreats, and trying to, again, engage a broader audience and working with other nonprofits as well. So, and also internships and things like that, you know. So these are our 4 main programs for the Keiki, basically a weekend and family programs for mainly for kids 4 to 6 years old and parents. We have birthday parties, you know, is yeah, a part of that program. Nature adventure camp. So this is, even though we're a nonprofit, this is the source of income that kind of helps pay the bills. It's a day camp for 6 to 11-year-olds throughout summer and school intersession breaks. It's held from, I believe, 8 to 3. And yeah, I'll get more into that as well. Homeschool science series. This is for students that are not in the traditional school system, who they come every Wednesday for science class and get to interact with other kids who are also homeschool kids. And then our most popular, you know, program, mainly because we work with the schools, or the school programs. And this is for K through middle school, but it's like mainly 6th grade when we say middle. It's a 3.5-hour immersive environmental education program. The lessons meet the next generation's science standards, and I'll get more into that in a minute. But this is the school program field experience. So what happens is I'll just give you the rundown. In this current year, 2023, 2024, we've got 170 school trips on the schedule. Of that, 140 are Title I or in need schools who receive a 50% entrance subsidy. They also receive a bus subsidy from the Hawai'i Nature Center of about $300 to $400 each, although we are finding out that the fees in 2024 are going up dramatically. So the Nature Center for these Title I schools, we basically cover, if it's $1,000 cost for the school to come and attend, we will cover about 50% of that, as well as the bus cost, the full cost of the bus. And that's what we raise funds for.
So your subsidies are going up?
Yeah.
Larger portion.
Larger portion. So yeah, I won't say throw any companies under the bus, pun intended. But yeah, it's unfortunate that one and yeah, this is not good. But anyway, they get upwards of $1,000, now slightly more, of support from Hawai'i Nature Center. So, and if anyone's not aware, Title I designation is the federal education program, basically provides assistance for local educational agencies. The department lists the Title I school is reported as a school that is a minimum poverty threshold of 47.2%. So basically that is the number of households at a Title I school receiving a free reduced lunch. So that's mainly who we serve. Moving on to Nature Adventure Camp. Basically, it's a 15-week immersive hands-on environmental education, nature exploration, Monday through Friday, as I mentioned, 8 to 3. We have currently about 3 groups of 20 keiki. So it's 60 kids per week, with a 1 to 10 educator to child ratio. And of that, currently 8.3% of those 60 kids are on full scholarships for the Nature Center. And so right now it comes out to about 5 a week, but our board has recently said we need you to up that to 9% or about 15%, and which comes out to about all total 31,500 hours per year of meaningful watershed experiences. And so basically the reason why I bring the school up as well as sorry, I feel like the scholarships is because part of my outreach is my job last year was trying to reach out to some of these Title I schools to make connections and identify a lot of these families and let them know about these scholarship opportunities. Because before I came on, our fulfillment rate was maybe 1 or 2 scholarships a week. And really, I've been able to connect with some schools, but we're having a hard time finding them. And I'll get more into it later, but thanks to a couple of nonprofit partners, we've been able to actually get a full 100% scholarship participation for some of these weeks.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No.
I did the math. So that's about 600 hours of content.
For
15 weeks for.
Oh, yes.
8 hours
Yeah.
a day. Like what do you cover?
Yes, that's
a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah.
To have these kids.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to. Okay. I feel like I'm missing a slide here.
There were some that were hidden, so if you exit out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know how I hit that. Sorry. Right.
This one too?
Yeah. None of them should, I don't know how I did that. Okay, sorry. So going back to the school programs real quick. So this is, we break up the school programs into, we go by grades. So grades kindergarten through second grade take place at the Hawai'i Nature Center. And they can range from, you know, kindergarten and first grade get an introduction to plants, animals, and healthy habitats. Second grade will get a cycles in nature. Third grade is when they start going out. We meet them out at select locations. So discovering the wetlands the third graders will meet us at Honouliuli wetland. That is, I'll get more into that too, but that is basically thanks to a partnership with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services that we get exclusive access, and it just ended at the end of January. It starts at the beginning of the semester. Fourth grade is forest or coastal encounters. They'll go up to Ualaka'a State Wayside. And fourth through sixth grade will be either forest or coastal encounters. They'll also go out to Waimanalo Beach Park, sandy beach tide pools. But yeah, so, and like I mentioned, Hawai'i Nature Center schools all meet the next generation science standard, which is basically whatever they're teaching in the classroom, it aligns with that. So this is the school program that goes out to Honouliuli, or currently now they go out to Hamakua Marsh because Honouliuli has closed, and they do bird watching, you know, fish in the streams down there. The Hawai'i Nature Center will bring out taxidermied birds and kind of show them what they could see out there and learn about the waterfall and all that, you know. So Nature Adventure Camp, and then I feel like, okay, sorry, what was him? Oh, 2 fingers. Jeez, sorry about that. Okay.
You could do this to them, just see what's in them.
No, No, my bad.
Screw up and slide, you know.
No problem, no problem.
It's all recorded, by the way.
But yeah. So the Nature Adventure Camp, you were asking, you know, what goes on, and these are the weekly themes that they'll do one theme per week, and we've got a great team of educators who come up with new themes and stick to it. Art and nature, wayfinding, design and nature, seeing green, biomimicry, which the kids really love. That's usually a good one. But each week of Nature Adventure Camp involves a field trip. And, you know, they go out to the tide pools at Sandy's, Waimanalo Beach, or the botanical gardens. And each week is ended on Friday with a all-day hike up on the Makiki trails. So, yeah. And then, so moving on, we have our homeschool science series, which is a weekly semester-long environmental and natural resource science program. It takes place each Wednesday from 8:30 to 2:30. We have completely sold out. We have 20 keiki each week, and it's also a 1 to 10 educator to student ratio. And kind of like Nature Adventure Camp, each week has a different theme with one field trip during the semester happening, and theirs happened last week. But on the screen here are some examples of each week's theme. So yeah, this actually came about before I started, and our executive director, I guess, kept getting asked by some parents who had their kids attend NAC, Nature Adventure Camp, and said, you know, do you have a homeschool, anything for homeschool kids? And I think by about the third time he was asked, he finally said, yep, we do. And I told our educators, like, hey, can you come up with something? So, but I got to tell you, Emma Shelley, who is our education program manager, really does an excellent job putting this together, and came up with that. And each semester is different, so it's really well done. So why do we do this, or the impacts of what we do? We kind of exclude COVID years. for obvious reason, but I think COVID was a pull forward for us. We were actually able to open back up, being outdoor and being able to stay within all the safety guidelines of COVID. But we've seen a 41% growth from 2018 and 2019, a 60% in schools over the academic year. And really, aside from Maui, we're really firing on all cylinders, and yeah, things are going well. Again, wanting to keep that going, and just talking about a couple of the impacts. We get just today we got drawings and thank you cards from the students. We get that often, talking about their experience and appreciation for what the Nature Center showed them.
Also have a big refrigerator.
We do. We have a full-size kitchen with and a with the oh yeah. Well, actually, we just started putting them all up on our windows.
Mhm.
So if you come up and see the center, they're they're all displayed pretty nicely up there. So outreach and support. So I know my title is Fund Development Coordinator, and mostly people are like, oh, great, he's going to ask us for money. I'm not, no, although that is always welcomed. But what can you all do to help the Nature Center? We talked about volunteering, and you guys are going to come up on the 24th, and we have a monthly Malama Campus Beautification Day. As you are all aware, nature is relentless in taking back its space. And so we are continually trying to keep the stream and the trails clean, and, maintained for the kids for when they come up. And so, that's the Malama Campus Beautification. We have docent opportunities. If anyone that has time to volunteer for that, and teaching partnerships as well. We recently had teachers come up and we did a teacher workshop day. So working with that. As far as, I'll talk about the fundraising and, the monetary benefit or support is always welcome. We're a nonprofit. And right now, like most nonprofits, we used to do a gala, and we've moved away from that model post-COVID, and we've actually adopted what I really like is a different style of engaging our donors by giving corporations or organizations the option to donate and then bring a team up to the Nature Center, where they can go through an education program, kind of like how the kids would go, or they can do a corporate retreat, or do a volunteer service project. And what you're seeing here is actually members from the International Marketplace. They elected to do that, and they brought their team up there, and we went on a short hike, and came back down, helped clean out the stream, and had a little lunch, talk story, and it was a good day. Also, any in-kind gifts. We are always desperate for bug spray, ponchos, water shoes, anything. Again, we deal with Title I and underserved schools and kids. So sometimes, going back to the scholarships, a couple of the barriers we have found in getting kids up there is, and you kind of don't realize this until you're in the thick of it, but if you receive a free or reduced lunch at school and you get a full scholarship, and that organization doesn't provide kids lunch, you can't send your kids there, or if your kid rides the bus, how do you get your kid there? So, we are thinking, we're doing this good thing by completely covering the cost, and we are, but there are so many other barriers that are keeping these kids from attending Nature Adventure Camp, which is part of my job, is trying to remove those barriers. So I'm always open to ideas, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. But also, you could become a member. We offer memberships for $75 a month, and you get early registration for kids, if that applies to you, to nature adventure camps, you can come to our weekend community events and other little perks too. So that's that. And bringing up the fundraiser because I want to talk about when we started the fundraiser, we gave options to, bring your organization to the Nature Center for a service or educational event. But what we found through last year and this new model was some companies basically said, we don't need to come up. Could you could you bring another nonprofit organization of kids up? And so we were like, yes, that's a great idea. And so what we did was through Locations Foundation, brought up a bunch of kids from Kids Hurt 2 Hawaii, and Kalailoa Partners. They sponsored a group from the Boys and Girls Club of Nanakuli. So again, going back to the outreach topic, I put it out there because I'm trying to get more partnerships with nonprofits and find more ways to connect kids with nature. And I just need help doing that. So I throw that out to you all too. If you know anyone, please let me know. But yeah, they basically came in the place of the organizations and experienced a day in nature, which I got to tell you, the kids from Nanakuli were absolutely blown away. I think it was a shift in or a shock in their system to see such a contrast from where they're from. They couldn't believe the place existed. So it was really a joy to be with them. Kind of talking more about the nonprofit partners and filling the scholarship spots that we had. The Susanna Wesley Community Center in Kalihi has been an absolutely amazing partner. Not only do they identify the kids and families who qualify for us, they will pack them a lunch and they will bring them in their van. And so they've been amazing. Boys and Girls Club, Kids Hurt 2, we're kind of continuing that relationship with them too. And actually, I'll give a shout out to Zippies as well, because they came through and were able to provide lunches for the kids that were on scholarship. And so, yeah, greatly appreciate them as well. And again, there's a bullet point there. I'm looking for new connections to build relationships and further outreach opportunities. So kind of just talking about future opportunities, we want to continue to support Title I and in-need schools that we estimate that costs us about $200,000 a year in subsidies to bring those kids up. Like I mentioned before, increase Nature Adventure Camp scholarship support. Now that we've hit, five kids every week, we want to increase that to 9%. 15% with 9 kids. We want to further develop community and adult education, workshops, speaking events. And one of the pie in the sky goals for us is to purchase a school bus or a van, or somehow work with one of these busing companies to maybe lease, but basically remove that barrier of transportation to be able to get the kids up there, or with these Title I schools, they get there at about 9 o'clock, they're gone at 12:30 because the buses have to drop them back off at school and complete their route. So we want to try and figure out a way to extend that 3.5 hours as much as possible to be able to engage them more. And as always, hire additional staff. Agency is continually looking for enthusiastic environmental educators. So if you know of anyone that, this sounds like it could be up their alley, we have part-time and full-time positions available as well. So, yeah. And so this is, our contact information. Our executive director is Todd Cullison. Gavin and Pauline Kawamata is who we'll be working with, who is the Operations and Volunteer Program Director. And she has been there for 30 years. She is fantastic. Yeah, very, very eager to welcome you all. And yeah, cool. That's my presentation. I thank you for your time and ears. So any questions or? All right, that's okay. That means it was thorough. So,
I put a message inside the chat, but there's kids over here, so they're kind of noisy.
oh, okay. Yes. Absolutely. Are you able to see the screen with my contact?
Yes, but I just see are you on that list right there? That's you right in the middle? Okay.
Yeah, Gavin.
Okay, yeah, I screenshotted that. Okay.
Perfect. That's fantastic. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask, so for your operations in Maui, are they still continuing despite not having the location?
They are
or-
not. No, unfortunately, we don't have anyone over there right now. And we are desperate to, get someone hired and people back up and running over there. So unfortunately, it's going to be a bit of a building from the ground up. But yeah, I mean, we're committed and our board is committed. So yeah, Maui especially.
Yeah, well, Kahi Makaro, who's the guy from Parlay.
Yeah.
He also started Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
So he's
Okay.
very familiar with, with developing nonprofits. And
Yeah.
obviously you guys have been around for years, but
Yeah,
yeah, if I'd love to connect you with,
absolutely. Yeah, that'd be great.
see if we can work together to put a nature center together.
Yeah, thanks. So I will definitely take that information.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I really appreciate your time and letting me give my little spiel. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Do a lot of the older kids like help with, you have the volunteers kind of clearing the area, clearing the overgrowth and stuff like that. Do
Yeah.
kids do that at all too, or?
It's mainly the volunteer, but the older kids that go through program, they once they hit 12 years old, they become program assistants or whatever in that. But some families do come through. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have the same kids year after year?
I would say there's probably about 30% are the same kids, and then the rest kind of rotate out. But yeah, no, that's great. So yeah, thanks.
We're gonna close out. All right, so with Rotary, we always close out with our 4-way test, which is kind of our motto, things that we try to strive toward. Does anybody want to lead it? Right. One, is it the truth?
2,
Is it fair to all concerned?
3,
Will it build goodwill and better friendship?
4,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
4A,
Is it eco-friendly and fun?
5.
All right, thank you all. And that concludes the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.